We got a list of a lot of people who went missing in Pikeville. Now, Pikeville, it's about the same distance to London as we are, about 2 hours. That's not a far uh, travel. It's not a far distance to travel when you're trying to get rid of a witness. The investigation was significantly aided by the children's advocacy centers in Ashland and Hazard, which interviewed the victims, ultimately leading to Cress's arrest. Now, I don't know if it would be the same children's advocacy center, but if you remember several years ago, one of our nurses, the sex abuse nurse, the one that social workers and stuff would take children to see if they had been sexually abused, she herself was brought up on charges and indicted on sexual abuse. She started sleeping with a 16-year-old kid. And she was the nurse who abused children were taken to. She got 6 years in prison. We're going to talk about her too. These brave kids spoke up about their abuse, and their guardians believed them and then took action, said Attorney General Coleman. Well, Attorney General Coleman, we got a lot more that have some accusations to make. They've already made them. They're just waiting on somebody to listen. Someone to hear them. Crimes like this happen in communities across Kentucky, he says. Yeah, they do. And I encourage every adult to know the signs and how to report it. Really? Well, a lot of us do know the signs, and we know the signs because we were victims of it ourselves. Now, survivors. Yeah. 2 out of 3. Now, I don't know, this is probably an old statistic now, but back whenever I was first in recovery, 15 years ago, the statistic was staggering. 2 out of 3 women in rehab, in treatment, reported being sexually abused as a child. 2 out of 3. I'd say it's probably more than that now. 2.5. I'm deeply grateful to the amazing Children's Advocacy Center professionals, law enforcement, prosecutors, and advocates who stared into this darkness and secured a conviction so this abuser is never able to harm another child. You know, whenever they went to go interview Sabrina and Jennifer and the third unnamed lady, they absolutely should have taken a victim's advocate with them. That's the difference between sending somebody like Matt Easter and sending someone like what is it called? Well, that just says their special prosecutions unit. But I have a sneaking suspicion that they probably used their task force. Attorney General's office has a sex abuse task force. Where do they use it? We could have benefited from that task force right here in this investigation. Why were they not sent? Why was that task force not used? But it was used here? This case was investigated by the Kentucky State Police with assistance from the Perry County Sheriff's Office. Assistant Attorneys General Barbara Whaley That name's awful familiar. We see her on a lot of this stuff. And Tony Skeens. That name I've been seeing. Successfully prosecuted the case on behalf of the Commonwealth. Victim services were provided by McCall Allen with the Attorney General's Office of Victims Advocacy. Well, Sabrina Adkins sure could have used that. And then there's to report child abuse or neglect in Kentucky. Please call 877-597-2331 or 877-KYSAFE and a number 1. And so that is their hotline, tip lines, I guess. And then you've got a bunch of comments. I have known him most of my life. He is quiet and easygoing. People, you can't be too safe with your children. Women, please be careful who you bring in around your kids, because you can't undo the harm once it's done. That's exactly right. When you're all hot pantsing yourself at 20 and 30s, and you just can't sit down because your pants are on fire so much. Gotta have a man. Always out trying to find a daddy for these kids I got at home. Well, I'm almost 50, and I'm gonna tell you, I'll never get married again. And I'm a product of what happens when you remarry and you forget about the kids that you made with the previous wife. I'm the product of what happens when that little girl comes to your new house with your new wife, and she just reminds you guys, she just looks so much like her mommy. She just looks so much like her mommy, you want to just smack her in the head. You just don't want her around because she reminds you of a previous relationship. So Hot Pants Houlihan with her tail hanging out of the bottom of her shorts, she's all that Daddy can think about now. That's all his attention's focused on. Them booty cheeks hanging out the bottom of the short shorts. And him 55 and her 20. Yeah. Well, I'm the product of those children. I'm one of those children that grow up damaged beyond belief. And it's only by the grace of God, that I survived. So pay attention to who you bring into your home, truthfully. And it's our responsibility. We're the parents. We're the adult. I remember he was a deputy working through the sheriff's office back in the 90s. Predators among us. There you go. Well, it's about time. They usually don't get enough time when the lifetime of the child is destroyed. That's right. What do you think Patrick Little's victims are going to go through that? They just going to forget about it? He didn't deserve it, did he? Oh, did those children somehow seduce him? Is he the victim here? Because that's what he says. Patrick Little says he's innocent. He says he is innocent of all charges, but he pled guilty to the plea bargain because his lawyer told him he had to. If he didn't plead guilty, he was facing 30 years. Well, it doesn't look like you got any jail time out of it anyway, buddy. Looks to me like you got the deal of a century. Why would you be complaining about that? Right.